You can't heal in the same environment that made you numb. The quiet tragedy no one talks about, people spending decades trying to heal while soaking in the same toxic waters that poisoned them in the first place. Like treating a gunshot wound while someone's still firing at you. Brutal, isn't it? But you already know this, because some part of you has been silently screaming this truth for years. Here's the inconvenient reality. Your brain's inherent plasticity, its remarkable ability to adapt, becomes your greatest weakness when you're stuck in environments that perpetually wound you. The same neurological flexibility that could free you is instead keeping you trapped in cycles of familiar pain. Let me guess, you've read the books, you've done the therapy, you've journaled until your hand cramped, you've meditated, affirmed, and manifestation boarded your way through countless self-improvement rabbit holes, and yet, that sense of being fundamentally stuck remains. That's because healing isn't just an internal job, it's environmental. Think about it, the brain doesn't distinguish between physical and emotional safety. When you remain in spaces, physical or relational, that once numbed you, your nervous system stays braced for impact. It's not being dramatic, it's being efficient. Your body remembers the pain long before your conscious mind catches up. The spaces we inhabit shape us more profoundly than we realize. Your apartment walls have absorbed your tears, your hometown streets have witnessed your struggles. That friendship group has adapted to your wounds rather than your potential. And that relationship? It's comfortable precisely because it doesn't challenge the narrative you've constructed about who you are and what you deserve. But comfort and healing rarely share the same address. When was the last time you entered a room and felt your shoulders drop in genuine relief? When did you last have a conversation where you didn't need to edit yourself? These aren't luxuries, they're baseline requirements for neurological safety. And without that safety, your brain will always prioritize survival over growth. The British have this delightfully brutal phrase, "You can't grow roses in a toxic waste dump." No amount of positive thinking fertilizer changes the fundamental soil. Yet, here we are, collectively surprised when our inner gardens fail to bloom while we're watering them with poison. What most self-help gurus conveniently skip over is this. Sometimes the bravest form of self-care isn't learning to cope better, it's learning to leave. Geography isn't just about location, it's about permission. Different spaces permit different versions of yourself to emerge. Have you ever noticed how quickly you revert to old patterns when you visit your childhood home? How certain friends pull you back into outdated versions of yourself? That's not coincidence, it's neuroscience. Your brain creates environmental triggers that run so deep they bypass your conscious awareness entirely. Consider this. What if the version of you that could finally heal simply cannot exist in your current environment? What if that version requires different air to breathe? The most insidious environments aren't the obviously abusive ones. Those at least announce their danger. It's the subtly depleting ones that do the most damage, the relationship that's fine, the job that's not that bad. The friendship circle, that's good enough. These lukewarm pools of mediocrity become the perfect breeding ground for a numbed existence. I worked with a client once, let's call her Maya, who spent 3 years in therapy making minimal progress. She'd mastered all the psychological jargon, could identify her patterns with impressive precision, yet remained stuck in the same cycles. The breakthrough? She moved 300 miles away. Within 6 months, she'd accomplished more healing than in all her previous years of therapy combined. The problem wasn't her effort, it was her context. This isn't about running away, it's about running toward spaces that reflect back the person you're becoming rather than the person you've been. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Your current environment isn't just a neutral backdrop to your life, it's actively participating in it. Those 4 walls aren't passive. That social circle isn't just witnessing your journey, they're shaping it. Your brain forms neural pathways based on repeated experiences, and your environment is the primary architect of those experiences. But what if leaving isn't an option? What if financial constraints, family obligations, or other realities keep you tethered to spaces that don't serve your healing? This is where micro-environments become critical. If you can't change the entire landscape, claim territory within it. Carve out physical spaces, even if it's just a corner of a room, that belongs solely to your healing self. Create temporal boundaries, specific hours where different rules apply. Build digital sanctuaries free from the voices that reinforce your wounds. The brain responds to consistency and contrast. When you deliberately create contrast between healing spaces and numbing spaces, you train your nervous system to recognize the difference. This recognition alone can break the spell of environmental conditioning. Let's get practical for a moment. Here's a tool I call environmental auditing. For 1 week, carry a small notebook or use your phone to track your emotional state in different environments. Rate how you feel on a scale from deeply depleted to genuinely energized. Don't analyze, just record. At the end of the week, patterns will emerge with startling clarity. You'll see which spaces feed you and which spaces feed on you. What you'll likely discover is that emotional safety isn't just about absence of threat, it's about presence of acceptance. Environments that allow your full expression without punishment or dismissal create the conditions for healing at a neurological level. Have you noticed how certain people make you feel instantly more anxious, while others allow you to exhale completely? That's not just compatibility, it's nervous system regulation. We are constantly co-regulating with our environment, whether we're conscious of it or not. The most sophisticated form of self-awareness isn't just knowing yourself, it's knowing your environmental triggers and responses. It's understanding that you're not separate from your context but continuously in conversation with it. Here's another tool, the 3 circles exercise. Draw 3 concentric circles. In the innermost circle, list environments where you feel completely safe, where your nervous system relaxes without effort. In the middle circle, list environments that are neutral, neither healing nor harming. In the outer circle, list environments that trigger numbing behaviors or emotional shutdown. Now ask yourself, where am I spending most of my time? If the outer circle dominates your daily experience, no wonder healing feels impossible. The numbing wasn't random, by the way, it served a purpose. When environments overwhelm our capacity to process, numbing becomes an adaptive strategy. The problem isn't that you numbed, it's that you're still living in conditions that require numbing to survive. Let me be crystal clear about something. This isn't about blaming external circumstances for internal struggles. It's about recognizing the dynamic relationship between your healing work and your environment. The most powerful internal work happens in contexts that support rather than sabotage it. I find it tragically ironic that we'll research restaurants before dining out but won't audit the emotional environments we soak in daily. We'll check weather reports before choosing an outfit but won't assess the psychological climate of our relationships. This isn't trivial, it's the difference between healing and merely coping. Remember, you haven't failed at healing if you've been trying to recover in environments that perpetuate your wounds. That's not failure, it's physics. You've been swimming upstream while wondering why you're exhausted. Sometimes the most profound healing comes not from trying harder, but from relocating your efforts to fertile ground. Sometimes the wisdom isn't in pushing through, it's in walking away. Your healing deserves environments that welcome it. Your growth requires spaces that expect it. Your future self needs surroundings that reflect possibilities rather than limitations. So ask yourself, does this place, this relationship, this job, this city know who I'm becoming, or does it insist on reminding me who I've been? The environments that facilitate healing share common characteristics. They provide safety without stagnation, challenge without shame, rest without guilt, and growth without punishment. They make room for all of you, the struggling parts and the thriving parts, without requiring you to fragment yourself to fit in. We talk endlessly about changing ourselves but rarely about changing our context, yet sometimes the most transformative self-work is actually environment work. So here's my question for you. What environment is waiting for the version of you that's ready to heal completely? What spaces would welcome your unguarded self? Who are the people who could witness your transformation without needing to pull you back into familiar territory? Your healing isn't just a personal journey. It's a relocation, sometimes literal, always metaphorical. It's about finding or creating spaces where your nervous system can finally exhale, where your potential isn't constrained by others' expectations, where your growth isn't threatening to those around you. If something in this message resonates uncomfortably, that's your body recognizing a truth your mind has been avoiding. The environments that numbed you cannot be the same ones that heal you, not without profound transformation. So maybe the bravest thing you'll do today isn't pushing harder in the same direction. Maybe it's pausing to consider that you've been healing in contaminated soil. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to seek cleaner air. If this perspective has shifted something for you, there's plenty more where this came from. Subscribe to the Behavior Algorithm for weekly insights that challenge conventional wisdom about human behavior and transformation. Not because I need the numbers, but because you deserve regular reminders of these deeper truths about how we heal and grow. Remember, the quality of your healing is directly proportional to the quality of your environment. Choose accordingly.